Please, Jen.
Mr. Ashish Jain, are you here?
I think there's some network problem.
I would request to please mute all the participants.
I think we should move on forward.
Yes. Now moving on forward, I would like Mr. R.K. Gupta to our guest of honor to say a few words.
Very good evening, friends. First of all, I would request the co-hosts and hosts to mute all the participants because there is a lot of disturbance.
Sir,
I
have
would be
muted
speaking
all.
just for okay. आप म्यूट कर दो, नहीं तो मेरे को co-host बना दो, मैं म्यूट कर देता हूँ सबको.
गुप्ता जी नमस्कार.
Sir, have
नमस्कार सर,
muted all.
नमस्कार. एक एक करके आप म्यूट कर दो सबको. कोई बात नहीं, इट इज अ न्यू थिंग फॉर यू. कोई ऐसा लगता है कि पहला प्रोग्राम है, थोड़ा सा डिस्टर्बेंस होता है. वी अप्रिशिएट ऐसी
काम
बात.
कीजिए.
यंग पीपल, तो यंग लोग जब तक सीखेंगे नहीं तब तक कैसे होगा. ऐश्वर्या जी, यू आर आल्सो को-होस्ट. ये सबको म्यूट करो और जो ज्यादा डिस्टर्ब करता है उसको बाहर निकालो.
ऐश्वर्या जी, आप एक काम कीजिए, सिक्योरिटी में सिक्योरिटी ऑप्शन पे जाके अनम्यूट जो अलाउ करने का ऑप्शन होता है उसे आप डिसेबल कर दो. सो नोबडी वुड बी एबल टू म्यूट अनम्यूट. फिर इसके बाद जो को होस्ट राइट है वो स्पीकर्स के पास होगा, तो वो अपने आप को अनम्यूट करके वो बोल सकते हैं. इसके लिए इससे आपको डिस्टर्बेंस नहीं होगा.
वैसे अब शांति हो गई है काफी, ऐसी बात नहीं है.
अब आप आ गए हैं सर तो शांति हो जाएगी.
तो ऐसा है जी, मैं 5 मिनट के लिए बोलूंगा सिर्फ. देखिए ऐसा है, बात हो रही है. फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल kudos to GIPA for providing professional opportunities to members. देखिए प्रोफेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज में चाहिए क्या हमें. एक तो चाहिए फर्टाइल लैंड. देखिए वी वांट टू ग्रो क्रॉप्स, वी वांट टू ग्रो फ्रूट्स. ठीक है, वी वांट टू ग्रो फ्रूट्स ऑफ प्रोफेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज, वी वांट टू ग्रो क्रॉप्स ऑफ प्रोफेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटीज. लेकिन अब ग्रोइंग के लिए क्या चाहिए? सबसे पहले तो फर्टाइल लैंड चाहिए. फर्टाइल लैंड क्या है? फर्टाइल लैंड आपका ब्रेन है. तो यू हैव टू हैव ए डीप नॉलेज ऑफ द सब्जेक्ट यू आर एंटरिंग इनटू. सिर्फ एग्जाम पास कर लेना इंपॉर्टेंट नहीं है. आपने वैल्यूएशन एग्जाम पास कर लिया, दैट इज जस्ट द बिगिनिंग. आपने आईबीसी पास कर लिया, दैट इज जस्ट द बिगिनिंग. उसके अलावा क्या चाहिए आपको? चलो लैंड हो गई आपके पास. दूसरा पॉइंट है कैपिटल. कैपिटल क्या है? जैसे मान लीजिए आपने इंसॉल्वेंसी प्रोफेशनल एंटिटी बनानी है, तो यू हैव टू हैव सम कैपिटल. कैपिटल नीड नॉट नेसेसरली मींस द अमाउंट, ऑल्दो इट जनरली मींस द अमाउंट, बट अमाउंट भी चाहिए आपको. इट बेसिकली मींस द रिसोर्सेज. सो यू शुड हैव रिसोर्सेज ऑफ पीपल, you should have resources of finance to enter into any particular area. I assume that all those attending are already professionals and they are already having some practice of their own. Now they have to make a very important decision whether they want to continue along with this existing practice, or they want to open a new vertical, or they want to abandon their existing practice and enter fully into the new area. So these are the three alternatives available to a professional. Now, depending upon the alternative you choose, if you already have sufficient staff strength, you have got sufficient resources, so you can think of opening a new vertical also along with the existing practice. But any area you choose, it requires lot of dedication, lot of time, lot of energy. And all we know that time and all these are individualistic professional opportunities. Whosoever deals with you, he wants to interact with you. Suppose there is a valuation assignment. The client would like to interact with you, and you should be able to devote your time. You cannot say, please talk to my staff. That may be at a later stage, but initially you have to interact. And to interact, to have meetings, you have to have time. So if you don't have time, because you are already engaged in your existing practice, then it may not be feasible for you. But if you are having sufficient resources of staff, of capital, you can engage other professionals, and you can form an insolvency professional entity or a valuation entity. Then ये वन प्लस नॉट कौन है, इनको म्यूट करो. तो ये जो है, अगर आप ये सब कर पाएंगे तभी फायदा है. आईबीसी की जहां तक बात है, बोथ आर डिफरेंट, दोनों ही डिफरेंट है. आईबीसी में क्या है, आईबीसी में यू शुड हैव फ्लेयर फॉर लिटिगेशन. लिटिगेशन का फ्लेयर होना चाहिए. आपको टाइम बाउंड मैनर में काम करना है, बिकॉज टाइम लिमिटेशंस आर देयर. एक पर्टिकुलर अगर इंफॉर्मेशन 3 दिन में जानी है तो जानी है. यू हैव टू वर्क midnight also. So if you are ready to burn the midnight oil, IBC is for you. If you have a flair for litigation, IBC is a field for you. And this valuation, it is highly statistical. It is highly mathematical. If you have got a flair for mathematics, if you are good at figures, then you can go in for valuation profession. Valuation profession mein basically it is a desk job, as I have understood it. You have to have meetings with clients for searching new clients. You have to have business, and then you have to sit on a desk and do the valuations. But before you sit at the desk, you have to have a perspective of the industry, of the global economy in which we are operating, and you should be sufficiently seasoned to understand the various economic parameters if you want to go in for valuation. Valuation at times is just a part of the IBC assignment at times, and at times it is an independent assignment as well. So depending upon the type of clients you are having, depending upon the type of contacts you have in industry or in profession, so you can have all these assignments. Collaboration comes later, but first of all, you should have knowledge of the subject. If you just think of collaboration and you don't have knowledge of the subject yourself, then you are nowhere. This is my own perception. I may be wrong also. There are other experts who will deal at length with this subject. But we should have a deep understanding of the subject or the field we are entering into. So all fields are good. Even our existing field of chartered accountancy, income tax, direct tax, indirect tax, that is sufficiently good. These are new opportunities. These are the opportunities for our professionals who find themselves saturated or they want to enter into new fields of insolvency and this valuation. Both are very good, very rewarding, but definitely taxing also. They also demand, if they give you remuneration, if they give you reward, they also demand your time, attention, your excellence. So you judge yourself first and then enter into any field. This is all I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your knowledge with us. We are very grateful for you.
Okay. So now I would like to invite Mr. Rajiv Kumar Jain to lead us from here. Hello, am I audible?
Yeah. I am asking, is that reference is to me or is it somebody else? Because the title you mentioned was Jan, not the same. So, so that's what I was wondering. Is to me or somebody else?
I'm sorry, sir, it's you.
Okay, fine. Thank you. First of all, I would like to thank this GIPA body and especially Praveen ji. Thank you very much for inviting me. And R.K. Gupta ji, Nitish ji, and all two young presenter. I hope this will be a great exposure for you to carry on in future. And those who are hooked with this connectivity, connected with these programs at this point of time, thank you very much. All of you are welcome. Since I was briefed that this is not kind of a technical session, so I won't go into that. More of a looking into professional opportunity, how we do in India, how do we outside, and how do we can go and collaborate and execute the thing outside, inside. So I'll focus more and let's keep it more communicative so that we can take some questions, curiosity, those kind of things are very important. So I'll give over for 5-6 minutes. What is the time allowed? More than that, or is that a time frame so that I can brief it, organize it? What is the time slot? 5 minutes or 10 minutes? What do you want? So that I can structure my thought and
Sir, minimum half an hour.
half an hour. Okay.
Minimum half an hour.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much. So I hope half an hour I'll do justice. Without topic, I'm looking for opportunity. Yeah, that's also is a good sense for all of us to appreciate. Thank you very much. So first, I think what R.K. Gupta ji, I've known him long, and what he has given a threshold for all of us to understand is a very good sense. You follow expertise. If you ask my experience, unfortunately, I am a behavioral finance expert, so I understand when we talk about experience, most of the time we talk about what we have faced, and we generally believe that the others also will be facing a similar situation, but that may not be the case. So when experts say something, do not take on face value, may not be applicable to you, right? So like a topper of examination talking, I have done this, I have studied for 5 hours, you don't do 5 hours. Your physiology, your brain, your mental setup will be totally different. So you have to evaluate first yourself, not what the others are saying. So whatever I'm talking, little bit of my experience, I'll qualify that when I talk based on my experience. But when I talk gathering experience from others, because I've been involved in number of activities for last 10-12 years, and I would say estimated number could be 30,000 plus nationally, internationally. So that part I'll give you separately, which is a amalgamation of knowledge coming from various experts. What is required on a personal count, if I recall my days, and if I would have been advised rightly, I can tell you I would have saved 4 or 5 years of my youth and put into this, where I was literally wondering where to go. I was literally doing everything. Whatever was coming, I thought as a young CA, I can do it, I'm capable. Unfortunately, that was not the case. Whether it was going for a information system, because I come from a science background, so that comes naturally. Later on, I realized that beyond that, I cannot go. So I had to turn it back, because you would not like to be in a field where you don't go to the extreme. That's what my first understanding is. So I back out. But 3 years of my precious time went into this. Now today it is decoration degree, that's all. This is a decoration certificate. Sometimes some marks is added for some audit. I don't do it. I admit before you. Yeah, that skill set is with me. That helps me in understanding when I do evaluation, that different. But that is not the extensive view. So first I will ask you one important thing. I am not in agreement with the kind of certificate courses and other thing happening as if that all people are full and they are going to, with this certification program, you are going to become a skillful person and deliver something. I think rather it is confusing people. They do not know what to do that. You do one, you go towards the others. By the time you go there, this is also over, right? I can give one example. In my bank, when I was appointed as an independent director, I asked from my bank people that please give me a data. The guy who was qualified concurrent audit certification program and the one who was not qualified, you give a qualitative assessment of their report because you put as a condition that this guy should be a concurrent audit qualified, and you'll be surprised the results were completely different than what we expected. And that is the result. So what exactly we are doing? I mean, I'm telling you that when you look for opportunity, focus on where the future is moving on. And don't simply jump into the sea because there is some seat going on and there is a vacancy. Have a seat. We will see later on where the opportunity. First see, do you have the interest? Also see where the ship is going. What is the direction? What could be, when you are traveling, what could be the difficulty you are going to face? Do you enjoy that? If you don't enjoy, there is no purpose of being there on that particular seat. And enjoyment, what R.K. Gupta have said, enjoyment comes when I'm engaged in a job, then I don't see, watch, what is the time? I forget my family. That is the kind of enjoyment in your job should be there. If you are looking all these, count things, they are 10 to 5 job or a restricted time frame, I think then you are either not progressing or you are not going to achieve what you are looking for. So this is very important for a young professional, and I'm also saying middle age professional, to think about where they should go. One thing Gupta is very clear, I have learned this very wrong way, is that all of us need to go for upskilling. Otherwise, for the next 3-4 years, you will be literally driven out. I was discussing 3-4 days back, frankly, I've never got a demonstration of what is augmented reality, what is a virtual reality, how it can be used in future in either in banking sector or in education sector. And when I was interacting, when I came to know about the technology, and then I realized, my God, I need all those skill set, otherwise I'll be driven out of the business. So understanding where the situation is going to, whether you are skilled with this or not, and if you're not, then upskilling makes sense. This makes sense. I'll give another example. Recently, Finance Ministry came out with a DFS circular, a very interesting thing for a young CA to know. In a CA examination, in final, now you have a specialized paper called risk management, right? I didn't have that opportunity to go through the syllabus, but now I have gone through. DFS required each bank to have something called CRO. That is, they are called as a chief risk officer, right? And they say that you have to hire people from outside the bank if you do not have your inside expertise. In most of the cases, they were not there, right? So you have to go outside and hire them. They say, what should be the salary for this? They say salary could be even higher than the salary which the MD can get, right? And do you know what is the salary which the banks were offering? 3 crore, 2.5 crore. How many experts is there in India on risk management side? Not even 20. Not even 20. This is the, if you think about that, how many risk management professionals would be required? But just by doing some qualification, the kind of thing which we are teaching to the people and the kind of thing which is required in the industry is totally, disconnected. So you see the risk management entire syllabus of Chartered Accountancy examination, you will not survive on a basic seat of risk management for a day in banking sector. So you will not be paid for. So you do not know how do we go into this sector. So I'll come back to valuation as the last, but I'm just giving some of the opportunity which are still there. I am sure anybody would have designed this, would have understood the requirement of the market, that yes, it is there, therefore the CA should know. But if you are doing that paper, say risk management, which is an optional paper and an open book examination, I'm sure you should be getting more opportunity. Rather, what happens in examination, even a paper which is optional, there is a restriction that the questions should come only from the study material, what is given there. Now, if this is the kind of a specialization restriction you go, then your people are not capable to handle, then somebody else comes in and picks it up. The guys who are literally doing right now CRO, believe me, they are not well suited, well qualified, well grounded, but there is no alternative available. So what should do they? Then go for what is available because they have shown some experience, etc. We are not going to that direction. We are not catching. So I'm just giving few examples, just accumulation of certification, either from ICI, okay, either from international bodies or somewhere else, will not help you in your professional pursuit unless you feel it, this is required for me and I want to be here only, nowhere else. For instance, what Gupta ji was saying, as an IPC, an IP, and a valuer, I can see, I mean, there are a lot of overlap. Everybody wants to do this also and that also. I sometimes I wonder, can you do it? Can you do it? Do you have this capability to do it? Just because you have it, you get one assignment here, do that, do half a job, half cut job. I have reviewed at least 30, 40 valuation reports of IBC sitting in bank board. And if, let me tell you, as audit committee chairman, if I would have initiated, which I was supposed to, but I stopped sort of doing because of all going against professional colleagues, there could have been a serious repercussion on that. Serious repercussion. Because such were the, they were lacking in credibility, lacking in application and principles. So why it is happening? Because people are jumping in seas and they're trying to catch whatever available. So whatever available with a short-sighted approach, I don't think we are able to achieve what is required. Having said that, but I say I'm not discouraging anybody. It's always to look for, if you see, in my ways, the only area where I'm stuck longer than anything else is the valuation. Otherwise, in my life, I started with a Bachelor of Science, then become by default a chartered accountant. Sometimes I was dreaming to be an IIT. Today, of course, I teach IIT and involved with them, do with the IIMs. Most of people from CA will go to IIMs for learning. I teach them so that they understand what the practical thing. In my bank board itself, there are 3 people from IIM, all top quality IIM. And initially, I remember when they asked me as a chartered accountant, their view was very negative, very negative. But now situation is different. They ask everything before they conclude because they know what substance they are going to get. So I'm saying when you see these opportunities coming before you, especially say now come back to the valuation aspect. You're a young people, I would give you a holistic approach. You should not confine that your opportunity of valuation is restricted in this country. If you start with this, or any institution start with this thought process, then you are literally suppressing the opportunity rather than giving the future opportunity, right? Because this requirement is global. It's not restricted. It's not restricted. You can go anywhere in the world and provide this kind of a services, but for that you have to have a global knowledge. Somebody was questioning me 20 days back in one of the CP programs which we are doing for our, the galaxy of valuation professional there. कहते हैं कि सर आत्मनिर्भर भारत है तो आप इंटरनेशनल वैल्यूएशन स्टैंडर्ड क्यों यूज करते हो? आई एम बैफल्ड टू हियर दिस काइंड ऑफ अ कमेंट. आत्मनिर्भर भारत का मतलब ये थोड़ी है कि आप जो है कोई भी इंटरनेशनल चीजें यूज ना करें, सब लोकल. ये किसने कह दिया आपको? दिस इज ए रॉन्ग अंडरस्टैंडिंग. आत्मनिर्भर भारत का है जो हम कर सकते हैं वो कर सकते हैं, right? But we have to also provide at least services to the outside world. So therefore a global knowledge which is something acceptable across the globe is going to give you ideas. अब opportunity में आपको एक एरिया बताता हूँ. Like you become a valuer. The one segment of valuation is your which may happen, I would say maybe next 4 or 5 years with very stern scrutiny. I was told by ICI also, some very senior person, I would name you, that at least 5-10 cases every month for IBC Gupta ji is coming for DC. 5-10 cases every month, and some of them may be also for valuation, and there is a clear nexus. I'm telling you, I have not done a single valuation deliberate reason for an IBC. There is a clear nexus between IP, valuer, promoters, COC. They are also part of that, all coming together, and the lawyers. All these parties have literally, now you can see the data and conclude, statistically we can conclude, okay, that this is what is happening. So it is going now 30-35% of realization value, which is very, very less. In all sector, you can't go say that because of the COVID I have realized less. So what I'm trying to say is, in most likely in the next 2 years, the way Reserve Bank of India is allowed and the government focus has gone change, you won't get those 40,000, 30,000 crore cases going to the IBC. Now there will be a least amount of cases going to the IBC. The banks are going for a restructuring allowed by RBI, and they will try to address their realization is much better, and the business survival is also very good. Here what is happening is that businesses are getting closed. Most of the cases you are trying to take them into the liquidation. So all those things are happening because people have answered some objective questions, Gupta ji, 100 questions without any exposure. The one who has got the exposure enter into a murky deal. So ethical part completely out of the picture. The most of them do not understand what exactly they are doing, how it should be done, and how difficult is the understanding of a stress management of a company, of a restructuring. No idea, you go and do the wrong thing. So an IP to understand valuation is as important as the valuer to understand valuation. If an IP will not understand, he will not properly evaluate the reports. He will not properly communicate, because there are a lot of ifs and buts, and there are a lot of confidentiality involved in the whole process. So I am just saying, if we have to find opportunity, we have to also perform to that level. Otherwise, opportunities will close. Like, see, concurrent audit, banks are thinking, why I'm doing concurrent audit? Let's close it. I tried on my best to increase the fee in my bank, Union Bank. We have increased, kept it at 15,000 minimum. But the bankers management is saying that, Mr. Singh, you are asking for increase in fee. There is a queue of people asking for at the same fee, and after accepting the assignment, they will come and start grieving that the amount is very less. So they say that, look at that, what is happening. So where is the question of increasing fee? But tomorrow it is quite likely they will come to the conclusion that I will not go for this. You must have seen recently Minister NHAI was commenting on CGM or and General Manager performance of NHAI. And what his conclusion was that the in-house people are so bad that they are fully dependent indirectly on so-called consultant, and they are all mismanaging. One great area of using the valuation principle is NHAI road projects. They do not value at all. They are only going for project IRR or equity IRR formula-based calculation. For each assignment, Gupta ji, NHAI gives 10 lakhs rupees. So if you have a 10 assignment, you have a 1 crore or so for business. And what is the skill set? Some formula. Absolutely no idea about what is happening on ground, how much value creation will happen to the NHAI, how much value creation will happen to the investor. So you do not know. So government is thinking, I have already parked this issue with them. So sometimes with your skill set, you will come out and tell that the people to understand that what exactly is required. Same thing in valuation right now in India. Unfortunately, your work is not being scrutinized. That whatever argue or does it, the way they are scrutinizing is also not good. It should be, unless your work is tested by somebody, you are not a skilled person. Like when I went to LCIA, and somebody of a caliber of Harish Salve and some others, and there are guys from international capability, they looked at the report and they commented and they come out. Then you know what, you'll be surprised, even on FEMA valuation principle, which is very formula based looks like and very simple, there were around 35 questions which you are supposed to answer if you are doing valuation. So how do we defend your work on international platform? I say, as an Indian, you have a huge opportunity, but will that something you can do based on the local language, or you are trying to in the name of Atmanirbhar, trying to tweak with what is internationally acceptable to confuse people rather than improve their skill set so that they can grab those best possible opportunity. I can tell you, Indians can do business at 1/10 of a price in valuation area. If it is a complex valuation, 1/20th of a price if you can do on a litigation valuation. And you'll be very happy because the money per day would be in the range of something 1 lakh, 2 lakh rupees for a professional, right? Take an example of a Singapore arbitration court. You must have heard recently a case of Amazon and then Future Group, which has gone to the Singapore arbitration court. Can you believe it? That kind of a time frame, with less than 30 days, an interim order came out. Can you believe here, even in Supreme Court, this kind of, with all due respect to the people sitting there, would have given a justice to? No. On a breach of contract, India is around 160 plus, because we do not have that defense mechanism. Why I'm giving the example of a SIAC, that is a Singapore International Arbitration Court, is that 80% of that, what happens in that court, is all Indians. Is all Indians. So the party who's contesting, the party who's defending, they all are Indian, all will go to the Singapore with the whole team and they fight it. And then if you see that in terms of business volume, it could be 3,000, 4,000 crore rupees per year. Those opportunity would have been in India. And I've been fighting, I think what Jain Saab is trying to find out, they have suggested government also on this point, that please have international arbitration. Even today, our international arbitration, look at that, we are talking 2020, it is over now, 2021 next year. We have still not visualized that India can become an international center of arbitration, which Prime Minister has spoken. But Prime Minister cannot go and create an institution for you. Prime Minister cannot go and say that this is what the opportunity is there, which is what a professional role is. We have to identify and find those opportunities. So an arbitration between two parties, both outside India, can come to India and do their job the way we are going to Singapore, the way we are going to London International Court of Arbitration, the way you are going to other segments. So this is the one area which will not only improve, this will make you Atmanirbhar. I get your point. This will make you, improve your hierarchy on especially defending the rights, contractual right. If we are seeing today $35–40 billion of inflow in the first 6 months, in my estimate, it could have been easily 60 plus if we have those kind of judicial system, or other than judiciary, say arbitration, mediation, effective system. If we have it, that means we'll get those 30–40 billion extra. If those 30–40 billion extra will come up, which effectively means that we'll have a more opportunity within the country and outside country also. So I am looking, if you want to become a true professional, do not focus locally only. You focus globally, right? Because we are in the service sector, and especially in valuation is uniform across the globe. Now there is a process going on. All different standard setting bodies, they are all part of the IBS. They are coming. I had an opportunity as a course director of IICA, which is one of the India's, Gupta ji, first global course we have come out. We are now getting inquiries from Latin American countries. So it is credible for an Indian institution. Somebody just started first year batch, 80 plus people, and participant could be a DMD of a State Bank of India. This kind of a group is there. But now we are getting a global inquiry. Why? Because we make it global. We have opening. We have not closed down our ideas that what I am saying, Rajiv Singh saying, this is the solution. No, we always respect the contrarian view. But there are people who are just scuttling. They are not allowing you to speak the other, and therefore there is no research happening. We are only trying to copy. And there is a madness in India. I see writing books, writing material. There is a madness, is scrambling. In a day, people are creating books, copied, pasted here and there, without even giving a thought, the sequential. Just there is a, somehow we believe, I don't want to name a people, that if I write more number of books, probably you'll be recognized more. You write one book, and if it is really credible, people will recognize you for your life. Believe me, that is what is required, a commitment. So if you are a US author, if you are a European author, one book would require a team of roughly around 150 to 200. If you are an Indian author, you require a team of less than 1. I always say less than 1 because the writer is not the one who's writing, somebody else is collating information for him. Only in the morning you will know that yes, this book is in my name, or you are basically taking work of somebody else, putting your name. That is not going to give you a great professional opportunity. Yes, does it matter? I would say yes, but whether it is coming through a pre-reviewed or a reviewed journal, or it is just coming somewhere you want to get it published, that is not the way you look for. So my recommendation for all youngster, middle level people also, because you've been involved in for long for something, and suddenly you have to go and catch something, so it looks very awkward, or sometimes your time will not allow you to do because you still want to. My suggestion is, whatever your existing practice, please nurture that. Don't leave it, because in bad days they are going to help you. Sometimes I heard some people say, you recently qualified a valuer. Oh, कहते सर हमने सब काम छोड़ दिया. I want to only commit to this because this is what is my future. ऐसा मत करिए भाई, because this is not going to help you at all. Whatever you have been doing, please keep on doing. Try to build the profession over a period. In the process, you learn also. And at the same time, suppose for X reason, this is not working, this will become a base for you. Otherwise, you will be driven out of the market. Expertise, let me clarify what I have understand of doing same thing repeatedly, right? That is what the expertise is. Sometimes people say, like, I do only thing which I enjoy, and I don't do anything. I think I'm more than capable of delivering at least 3, 4 more portfolios, and I can handle it. But I don't do that. But if you call it somebody expert, he is doing the same thing repeatedly, and therefore over a period he acquires a knowledge level and a skill set where he can defend the work, he can qualify, communicate, and justify to the people. If he can do that, believe me, you are going to be accepted. If you are not in a position to do that, so you are only executor and you have not a proper communicator, that means in valuation, look at that. You may be very good on the right brain guy and the left brain guy. So somebody who loves the statistics, somebody who doesn't, somebody has a story, somebody has got only the numbers. So, but it is bridging of all these two together. So you have to have a writing capability. You also need to know whether you are prescribing. If you are prescribing a report, you will quote. You have no business to give a prescription. You can't say that the GDP of a country will be tomorrow 8 or 9%. What is the basis? Where is the reasonably objective basis of saying so? Your job is to conclude. Your job is to take data and then conclude and communicate. So when you are looking into those work part and opportunity part, try to see, as you rightly said, whether you have a right brain, whether a left brain individual, or a combination of that, whether you look at behavioral science, because now finance and evaluation is moving towards more towards the understanding of variation, behavioral issue. In fact, standard finance is getting replaced by the behavioral aspect. That is one other area I'm telling you, which is very fascinating. Unfortunately, in India, neither any university nor any educational institution is addressing this part. For instance, if I want to choose tomorrow Gupta ji as a graduate student, then give me a psychology, mathematics, and economics, and then some commerce subject combined together, I will not get it, because somebody will say that, oh, it doesn't make sense, but this is a really dead combination. It's available in Europe. You can go and get it, because this psychology, and especially in the behavioral part, is what exactly is getting replaced for. If in another time, when I get an opportunity, I can tell you, when we discuss some technicalities, that how behavioral finance is replacing your standard finance theories, which has been there in the market for the last 30, 40 years. But with all these recent research, we are going into that area. Unfortunately, in India, we have not visualized. We are going to the technology, but we are not going into this part. For instance, one of my suggestions is, like, we talk about economic principle, we talk about this, but I've coined the word called economic well-being. Like, the physical education, we call it, I call it as a, health well-being of a student. So when we talk about economic well-being, there are so many aspects which comes within that umbrella, and you will understand that how these multiple parts, they are all not a straight line. It's a very complex system which works, and that is how somebody who picks up few points and try to understand the mess around the whole system. And we see this result happening because few people have not understood the system properly. They have just either borrowed the concept from some textbooks, has no idea what is happening at ground level, and therefore we are mismanaging. So believe me, when a prime minister of a country, and especially the Modi ji, if he says even today, after this pandemic, it is still going on, nobody knows when it is going to get over, what will be the fate tomorrow, but still he's saying, I'll get 5 trillion economy, there must be some calculation. Are you getting, sir? The one who will not know what is there in a ground will have a different say. There'll be a naysayer, there'll be a soothsayer, there'll be some supporter, then opposition. But where are the people who can understand the economy, can tell you that which is what going to happen? For instance, supposedly India is a bank-driven economy. I'm giving you the data. So if you have a 1 rupee of a credit coming into the system, 1.5 times, assuming that your economy is going to grow, so you can easily pick the bank data, credit growth, and with this you can forecast a likely situation of a growth in the country. But considering the stress balance sheet of all banks, right, especially the public sector banks, with the impact, now you count the impact of this FDI and churning happening across the globe. Even in the pandemic, we have around 35 billion something coming up. So is that something which is what is going to increase, or there are some other 100+ companies lined up? You don't know it. There's no public domain data, but we as an analyst will understand which way it is going to go and whether it will be able to achieve or not. The one thing which comes in the whole process is the implementation part, sir. We have a very nice practices, policies, procedures, all wonderful. I've seen in banking sector working that way. But when you go at a ground level, the implementation is a complete no. Same thing you must have observed in IP. And we are blaming the IBC, we are blaming the code, but we are not blaming the implementation part. I'm not commenting on any regulatory authority or those who are part of the system. I'm only giving an example. In a bank, sir, in a Mudra loan, you'll be surprised. Just to give an example, which I parked in the Prime Minister office, in a Mudra loan, there is a category called CISU, which means you are going to get 0 to maybe 10,000 to 50,000 rupees. That is a category they call CISU. They are asking for 5% margin. So I picked up a statement from Finance Minister's statement, and I wanted to read it, the original content, before I could have asked question from my bank and some other banks also. So what was written there? So just see how we do in India. What was written there in that original document? It was written that the bank may not take. Now our bureaucracy should also understand what kind of people we have. It was written that the bank may not take margin in case of CISU loan. All Tarun and others, they should take margin based on their policies. Now, how they read it, the may was replaced with must, not was completely deleted. So the bank must take margin. I was asking a common sense question that if it is a 50,000 loan, how this 5% margin is going to help you when 75% of that is secured by Government of India. So what is this role 5% is doing? The 5% put into the procedural part was restricting the correct people to get the loan at the right point of time. I get your point. So this is the implementation obstacle. So my bank was the first one where I got it out of the system. I said, you either explain me the reason or you delete it, because you cannot. So similarly, if you read IBS, sir, there are 3 terms they have used, the entire IBS: should, must, right, and may. Now, if you give this word to a common person, the should always mean for a common person, I can or I may not, right? But if you see the way they have defined, they say should is presumptively mandatory. So which effectively means must is mandatory, there is no doubt you have to do it, but should is presumptively mandatory, which effectively means wherever the word should is written, you have to do that unless you have something very authentic and you say, for based on this fact, I am deviating and this cannot be done. Very difficult to justify this. But implementation part, if you go, that should is completely misused if you do not understand. So these are the some examples I wanted to set before when you become if you call yourself as expert, and you come into that level. In any whether I don't mind whether it is your indirect tax, direct tax, that's your choice. Some point in time I did it, but I'm not enjoying. I don't enjoy it. I don't enjoy taxes, so I give it to my junior or to somebody else to do the job. I only take the sections which are necessary for me, whether section 92 of income tax or whether section 50, 56, whatever required for me, what I want to understand, an application or international platform, whether I'm going for transfer pricing valuation or this. So a simple suggestion for all of you, I think I've taken more time. Hopefully other speaker and people can discuss in the course. If you allow me, I can take more questions from participants. They may have more on those issues, but to sum up what I've said is very simple. First, you enjoy what you want to do. Then only you choose that profession, right? Don't think about where it will go, because we always make judgment based on what we see today. Nobody has got a crystal ball. So let the thing to move forward. If you enjoy it, if you believe this is the subject and this is the requirement, you should go take it in instinct. Otherwise, if you do too much of analysis, oh God, if I move from this to that, what is going to happen? Nobody knows. I say in April I forecasted, let me tell you, in April I forecasted there will be a V-shaped recovery. Raghuram Rajan said W-shaped recovery. I was counter hellbound from market, but today I'm proven correct, right? But that was based on something reasonable objective, 100 years of pandemic, in fact 200 years of pandemic analysis. I would have been proven 100% incorrect. Fine, that's fine, because if I would have gone away from what has happened in the history and given the basis, I would have had no basis to claim what I was saying. When I'm saying, otherwise I'm saying based on gut feeling. The gut feeling has got no basis, and that basis will be always challenged. That's what my suggestion is. Follow the one which you feel is enjoyable. I think you will always succeed. But this is simple statement, very difficult to implement what I say, because to keep this enjoyment level at all time is one of the most difficult part, because there will be a lot of obstacles on the way, and hopefully your attention will be diverted and we simply compromise. So you have to have that attitude where you are not compromising. You're saying, oh, I want to stick here. This is my area, this is my job. But having said that, my last point is that do not leave what you're doing for that sake of getting something else. You can gradually progress unless you have a very clean line. We also advise the same to the client. Don't jump in because you will be finished because you have no experience of a new ship. Thank you very much. You can take up a call because I don't want to take more time. There are other people who can come up and discuss on this matter. And opportunities part, there are a lot of issues on opportunity for a CA especially, which you can discuss. But I've just jotted down one is the risk management, another is the valuation. And of course, as a compliance part, Indes also is one of the most important, and IFRS part. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rajiv ji. आपने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से प्रोफेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटी थियोरेटिकली और प्रैक्टिकली वेदर इंसॉल्वेंसी, वैल्यूएशन, टैक्सेशन और स्पेशली इन बैंकिंग सेक्टर वो बहुत अच्छी तरीके से गाइड किया, और वेदर इट इज डोमेस्टिक और इंटरनेशनल सिनेरियो, तो बहुत बहुत आपका धन्यवाद। तो बहुत लोगों ने इसका बेनिफिट लेगी और सोच समझ के प्रोफेशनल अपॉर्चुनिटी को रिकॉग्नाइज करेंगे, किस फील्ड में हमको जाना है, क्या अपनी कैपेबिलिटी है और क्या उसके आगे जाके हम कर सकते हैं, ताकि क्वालिटी का प्रोडक्ट, क्वालिटी का वर्क दे सके हम एज ए प्रोफेशनल। थैंक यू सर।
Thank you, Praveer. Thank you. Thank you all audiences. Thank you, organizer of JIPA. I wish you all the success in future. And whenever you call me, I'm always there.
Thank you, Rajiv sir, for sharing your knowledge and enlightening us. Now I would like to invite our second speaker, Mr. Nitish Kumar Chou, to enlighten us about the topic.
Please, sir. Uh, Nitish, sir, please.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, Praveen ji, for inviting me on this platform. It's been an honor to share the platform with stalwarts of the profession, R.K. Gupta ji, Rajiv Singh ji, Praveen ji, Ashish ji, and all other participants. So the framework has been very well defined by Gupta ji and very well elaborated by Rajiv sir. So I think there is nothing much left for the deliberation, but I'll briefly touch upon the scope of valuation that is prevalent in the market and areas in which valuation is required. So the first area in which valuation is required is relating to for the transaction advisory. In case of any merger acquisition or any fundraising, or in case of any sale of business, or in case of any leverage buyout, for transactions, all these transactions, valuation is the basic premise, basic requirement as to ascertain the assessment, or ascertain the value of the business or the arm of the business or any particular segment or particular brand or goodwill. For all the transaction related businesses, we require valuations, as well as we require valuations for regulatory purposes also. Like for RBI, we require valuation for under the FEMA guidelines. We require for income tax for the purpose of issue of shares, for the purpose of transfer of shares. We require it from the SEBI perspective as well in case of listed entities, and especially for under the Companies Act registered valuers. Then in case of litigations, the courts also require the evaluations. And then there is one more area in IBC. IBC, there are valuations which is required under the IBC Act itself. That is for the fair value as well as the liquidation value. Apart from this, valuation has a huge potential. It is required for the accounting perspective as well. After the introduction of Ind AS in 2016, it's been more than 3 years now, and every year valuations are required for investments in equity shares, preference shares, for contingent considerations under Ind AS 103, uh, basically for business combinations as well. And there are certain purchase price allocations, impairment related valuations, and then ESOP related valuation is also required. So valuation is a very, very new area in which can be explored by young professionals as well as the elder ones. The idea is you need to be a professional and having qualification of 3 years, and you can very well very easily grasp this concepts of valuation. It's in whether it's an art or science, that depends upon the person. So uh, it has a huge potential, and people are getting it done on a regular basis, and it's a very good, very, very good in scope. uh, in fact, I am also a registered valuer. I am doing mostly my practice in valuations only. And apart from this valuation, there is one more profession that has evolved over a period of last 3-4 years. That is the insolvency and bankruptcy professional, insolvency resolution professional. So under the IPC, IP is one of the profession that has grown over the last 3 years, but still it has a potential, because still date only part A has been notified relating to corporates, and for insolvency relating to individuals and partnerships, part C has still not been notified, and it has a huge potential in the upcoming days. And due to this pandemic also, so there will be a lot of disturbance in the business scenarios. So it is expected that more and more businesses will be covered under the insolvency regime, and the government is also working on the cross-border insolvency. So that is also one of the key areas or one of the highlight of the IBC. In case IBC in cross-border IBC is implemented based on the unilateral law, then it will be a huge potential for all the professionals. And if you have the flair, just like Gupta ji said, if you have the flair in litigation, IP is the best profession for you. And one more profession, Praveen ji ne starting mein kaha tha, we said about the independent director. So independent director is relatively a course which is quite easy to clear, and the exam is very easy to clear. It also has a huge potential, especially because the senior independent directors, they do not want to appear for an exam, and they are currently resigning from their post, which creates a vacuum in the market, and a number of opportunities are being created. So this is also one of the important and one of the emerging opportunity for professionals, but it all depends upon whether which profession you want to get in, and what is your flair, what is your what is your choice. I think most of the areas have been covered. So Praveenji, we can take up any questions if there are any questions.
Sir, can we elaborate some how to take preparation of evaluation, examination or insolvency, and how to tackle exam scenario?
Right.
कैसे
So मैं थोड़ा सा दोनों का ही एग्जाम का बता
Yes,
देता
yes,
हूँ
yes.
प्रोसीजर्स.
Yes, sir.
IBC में what we have to do is we have to appear for the exam first. We have to get yourself enrolled on the IBBI website, and then after paying fees of 1500, one can appear for the exam. And then there is a 50 hours mandatory training from any IPA, Insolvency Professional Agency, and there are 6 agencies. So a person can get training from them. And in case of valuation, the person has to go through the training first through various RVOs. There are 14 RVOs till date. And after getting 50 hours of training, the person is required to get enrolled for the exam, and NISM conducts the exam for valuation. And the fees is the same, 1500 rupees. So basically for clearing the exam, the study time required for valuation is approximately, according to me, is 300 hours. You devote 300 hours and you can very easily crack the examination. Gupta ji is also conducting valuation guidance classes every morning. He is doing a great job on this aspect. And for IBC also, the syllabus is getting changed in January, 1st of January. So it is advisable if you can clear the exam before December, or otherwise from January, the examination will be more case study basis. It will be more on the case studies and case laws rather than the exact provisions of the act. And there are certain other, in valuation, there are various acts that need to be covered. 45 marks is for the allied acts, and 55 is the technical portion. So which requires a lot of time and effort, but it is not very difficult also. It can be easily cracked. Once you understand the concepts and you understand the basics of the evaluation, it's a cakewalk for anyone. So it's not a difficult one. One can go for the valuation exam. The criteria is only 3 years of professional standing. There is no other criteria, and the person should be in practice as on the time of enrollment.
Sir, how we can select a respective RVO which is most beneficial to the students? Can you something? RVO कौन सा सिलेक्शन के लिए क्या क्राइटेरिया होना चाहिए अपने को?
Sir, RVO का selection तो basically it all depends upon one person to person, but my suggestion will be to go for IBVA. IBVA is doing good and is in talks right now. So Rajiv Singh ji की इसमें involvement भी है, so it's a good RVO. I'll suggest that. But
Right.
being a member of institute, I can also I cannot disregard ICI RV also. So
Right,
you
right.
you decide a bit basically it all depends upon you how it is going to help you, how it, you need to go through the policies, monitoring policies of all the RVOs, and whichever suits you, you can decide based upon that. Suppose ICI RVO says that you need to submit the uh, assignments that you have done, and that is under process with, at least twice a year, but they restrict it to only listed entities. So people are focusing, they want to go with ICI RVO, whereas all other RVOs, they are asking for all the assignments irrespective of listed or unlisted entities. So those who don't want to share their details, who don't want to be in public, and those who want to conceal the assignments, they will go with ICI RVO. And those who are transparent, they can go with any other RVO. So till 31st March, IBBA RVA fees is, I think, exempted. And if anyone clears the exam before 31st March, they can enroll with RVA, IBBA. There are other parameters also. I'll advise to go through the monitoring policies and the code of conduct of all the RVOs, then decide accordingly.
What about, sir, insolvency professional preparations? That is why they give after examination for 50 hours training, but exam to be passed before that.
Hanji,
How
sir.
the student will be prepared for that?
Sir, उसके लिए the exam is that exam is quite easy as compared to valuation.
Right, right.
So it also requires, I said 300 hours of at least learning is required in that case. So the basic premise is IBC code of IBC only, the bare act, as well as there are other acts as well. And there are 59 case laws as of today, various NCLT, High Court and Supreme Court case laws. So exam pattern is almost same, and it is quite easy to crack in first attempt or maximum in second attempt.
Sir, I think fast track course is also suitable after preparation of IBC. As I also attended Gupta ji classes of fast track at Noida Center, and many others benefited from them. What is your opinion?
सर वो हमारा अभी बैच खत्म हुआ है अगस्त में, then we have started this evaluation batch. इसके बाद we'll start कोई और
for IBC, sir, IBC.
IBC का भी किया था सर, IBC का भी किया था. We have done IBC also.
Yes, yes. That is also beneficial to students.
अब सर नए कोर्स में करेंगे ना जनवरी के बाद.
बिल्कुल सर, बिल्कुल.
नए सिलेबस में करेंगे.
बिल्कुल. बहुत अच्छा तुम. तो गुप्ता जी, तो अभी और कोई नहीं, तो वाइंड अप करें. हेलो.
So, एक second. So 1 minute. We have a question from CA Vishal Singh for Rajiv sir. Rajiv sir, he is asking why proprietorship firm not allowed to do concurrent audit in UBI, even if there is no bar as per law, as Allahabad bank allow. Any logic? We proprietor have technically quality and have good team. Please comments.
Yeah, I think you have not properly understood my intention, because there are a lot of issues which you can't discuss publicly. But I've given you my hint that the people who qualified as a, like in my bank, there is one more criteria, that at least one partner of yours should be a concurrent auditor, qualified, certified, professional. So I told you while I was discussing that I wanted to check that is there any qualitative improvement from the guys who has done that. In fact, it was worse. Most of the cases, the memo should have gone, believe me. Proprietorship, why bank is not taking, because this is now more than 10 lakh crores bank, with after merger of Corporation Bank and Andhra Bank, it has become a 15 lakh crore bank. This is a large size bank, and the bank believes that it will be a partnership form, which will be more, important, because suppose something happens to one partner, where they have given the job, their work will be stopped. So just this is a contingency measure, so that the work is not going on, is not disturbed. So that is the reason why they have excluded. There is no legal reason for that. But I doubt, even though I try my best, because my term is going to end in next 2-3 months, they will not accept proprietorship. That much I know. There are various reasons for that. One of the reason I told you, the contingency measure, because see, this requires a lot of administrative work. Earlier, when I was an auditor, I didn't know what exactly is happening. As Nitesh was rightly saying, independent director, if you take as a profession, I mean, is a really is a profession is what I'm questioning, because going and sitting there and if you see the kind of responsibilities there is really if you are in a position to do your job properly, I wonder how somebody can do 4 or 5 companies independent director they become at same point in time. Either they are a superhuman being, or we are duffers. We don't know. We don't have that ability to do, because I am struggling to meet the demand of one bank where I'm independent. In fact, I'm another public sector also listed company, but I'm unable to do the job because I am like a free flowing car. Move here and there, try to pick everything from their every department and understand that is the right given to independent director. How many of them are involved to understand the system of practices? They only go and sit, pen and pencil, sit with the board, and just whatever discussion happens, pick up some point and start discussing. That is not the way you are supposed to perform. This is the reason why the data bank has been created, and there could be opportunity where people will be highly paid. Now government is also opening up. If they can pay to a CRO tomorrow, say 2 crore rupees or 3 crore rupees as an annual salary, and still they are not getting, there could be a CFO. How CFO is not critical for a bank? Where they should not be paid a market rate, why they are being paid at the rate, and how CRO is superior to that. These are the questions you need to answer. But to answer your question, boss, proprietorship, आप अपना थोड़ा बदल लीजिए. In future, if I sum up for all expert, हो सकता है आप हमसे डिफर कर सकते हैं. प्रोप्राइटरशिप का बहुत मुश्किल है. आपको इवन वैल्यूएशन में भी इंडिविजुअल लेवल पे जस्टिफाई करना बहुत मुश्किल है. काम का बहुत मुश्किल है. आपको जोड़ना पड़ेगा, और हम बैंक को फोर्स नहीं कर सकते बिकॉज उनका बात बहुत लॉजिकल है. आई होप दैट हेल्प्स यू. इलाहाबाद बैंक को छोड़िए, वो कितना दिन बैंक रहेगा अब इससे ज्यादा मैं नहीं कह सकता. तो इसलिए उनका प्रैक्टिस को मत देखिए. आप जो टॉप 4-5 बैंक है उनका देखिए. डू दे कंसीडर दैट? या.
Thank you so much, sir. We have one more question from Ian Dubey. He's asking, IPR, very important class of asset for various IND, which is not classified as separate stream for valuer by IBBI, and continuity to get it done as financial asset. Is it appropriate for possibility of notification of such new stream in future?
Is that question addressed to me?
Sorry, sir.
Is the question addressed to me?
Yes, sir. I think so, sir, because no name is written.
Achha, okay. So Nitesh can answer. If it is free for that. Nitesh, you can answer that.
Sir, I don't have any idea about this. IPR
Okay, so-
currently being valued by SFA, that is fine, but I don't think the question is there any possibility of notification of such new stream in future?
No, yeah, it is there. Because if you see the valuation bill, if the National Institute of Valuer will come up, valuation would be there. At that point in time, there will be a number of reclassification, because unfortunately, to tell you, I mean, this is a bizarre situation we are facing as a value in this country. Nowhere in the world, you'll be surprised. Are we bigger than United States of America? Our stake is bigger than that. In US, to tell you, there is no concept of registered value. Even I, as an Indian, without any registered value concept, I can go in US and prepare a report. What they look for is the quality, and they're monitoring the bodies. There are 4 or 5 bodies. In fact, with IBBI, I face another problem. In Singapore, I did a valuation, and they asked me, where are you registered? Are you a registered? I mean, are you a recognized value? They don't understand registered value. I said, yes, I am. I am registered with IBBI. Do you know they rejected my CV, saying so that you are an expert of bankruptcy valuation. You are not an expert of IFRS valuation. I was shaking my head. Well, this is the kind of country, that was their assumption. I said, look at my CV. I have not done till today a single valuation of bankruptcy. But they said no, because you are registered with IBBI, which is an insolvency and bankruptcy board. Therefore, you should be a bankruptcy valuation expert, not for accounting purpose. So they rejected my seal. It took at least 3-4 days of a convincing. Then only they came to conclude that yes, this can be accepted. This is bizarre. Classification, you ask me, you are saying that, okay, I am a SFA valuer, fine. You are not capable to do land building, accepted, right? But you are supposed to review a report prepared by a land and building valuer who is an expert. So you are reviewing, a non-expert is reviewing the report of expert. Not only the review, you are also responsible for their errors. If they don't do anything or they do something incorrectly, you are responsible. This is the law today. So sometimes I will be shaking my head if I am using somebody else's report, what standard he follows, what conclusion he does, whether he has done it properly or not. So if I am capable to review, right? If I am capable to review, or if I give my comment on somebody else's report, why I am not capable to do the evaluation for that? This is, I mean, sometimes you go and see application part. This is what is creating a trouble. I was recently, as a part of a speaker, I was discussing something in Malaysia. They were all laughing. Do you have all buckets? I said, this right now there are only 3 buckets. There could be more buckets going to come, right? So there will be somebody will be, now there is a standard coming for inventory valuation. So you'll be an inventory valuer. Tomorrow, quite possible, let me tell you, this is a possibility I'm looking for. You will have a separate subcategory within SFA. The guy will be only financial instrument valuer. Because once the bank index application will happen, that is one opportunity I have forgotten. Right now it is stopped. I don't know how long it will be stopped. But is going to come. You will have a very specialized kind of a people coming. All RBI regulation related to valuation as of today will be withdrawn because they are all not in compliance with index 30. And you have to separate regulations, separate skill set, because there the instruments are very complex. It's not easy. Similarly for the insurance. So you have those special categories coming up in future. Right now, of course, we are enjoying. So buckets thing, I think once the new institute will come up, they will take a call, which I believe is there as a part of it. But if you ask my opinion, I am not very much comfortable with this bucket thing because this is creating more problem rather than solution.
Thank you. I think Mr. Dubey has another question for you. Sir, he's asking, scope of RVO only restricted to IBC or having relevance beyond that?
A scope of RVO or a scope of RV?
Sir, he is asking, scope of RVO only restricted to IBC or having relevance beyond that?
No. See, the scope of RVO will be expanded in the new valuation bill. The new act also will be covered by, say, this valuation rules and regulations, right? So they will drop section 247, that is a separate bill for the valuation. So within that, whatever act, whatever purposes, if all are amalgamated, so that will percolate down to RVO. So that the scope right now, supposedly, what Nitish was saying is right. If you ask me personally, the scope is restricted to Companies Act and IBC because that is what requirement is. For others, it is not necessary. But yes, for good practices, if some RVOs are trying and trying to capture those practices, always good. So if that becomes a law tomorrow, once this act is going to come, hopefully in the winter session of Parliament, you can see it unless there is some uproar or something happens. It was supposed to be there in the monsoon session. Didn't happen. Least debated bill right now. So within the new bill, if the more power goes to the institute, the National Institute of Valuer, they will further go down to the RVO if that structure remains. If that structure goes out tomorrow, nobody knows because it's still a bill, and then God knows. Then the RVO will be, accommodated as a part of your National Institute of Valuation. If it remains, the scope will be widened. There is no doubt about that.
Thank you, sir, for clearing our doubts. Now I would like to invite CA R.K. Gupta to say something about examination part.
So for the information of all, I would like to say that we have developed a lot of material on both IBC and evaluation. All this background material is available on my website and it is freely downloadable. We do not ask anything. So you can just go to my website and download the material. My website is carkgupta.com. We have been conducting video classes on IBC and evaluation since May 2020. And there are more than 50 hours of video lectures, recorded lectures are available. They are also in public domain. We keep sharing it through Google Drive and on my Facebook page also there. You can just drop me a message, and if you go to my website carkgupta.com, you will find my mobile number also there. So you can just drop me a message. So I'll share the link of Google Drive with you. And we have got no commercial angle or political angle to this, and it is all for the benefit of the professionals at large. Any CA, CS, ICWA can freely approach us, and they can take help of the material, which is basically exam oriented. We have tried to explain the things from practical standpoint also, besides from examination point of view, because the ultimate aim is to practice either in the field of insolvency or in the field of valuation. That is the basic intent. The end object is not to just pass the exam. That is just the beginning. So keeping the end object in view, we have included practical case studies, we have included practical situation, and we have asked various experts who are involved with us in delivering all these video lectures which are recorded, to instill some practical aspects also. So all those who are already into IBC or those who are already doing this valuation like Nitish Chugji, so they have been kind enough to deliver all those lectures and which are available in public domain. So any of you can make use of those video lectures or PPTs. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for telling us this information. Now I would like to invite Praveen Kumar Jain for vote of thanks.
गुप्ता जी ने, नीतीश जी ने, सिंह साहब ने बहुत अच्छी तरीके से एलोबरेट किया, अपॉर्चुनिटी को समझाया और कैसे उसको गैदर करें, और थ्योरेटिकल प्रैक्टिकल हर एक तरह से जो है बहुत अच्छी तरीके से बताया गया। उसके लिए मैं आप
सिंह साहब का और नीतीश जी का वो वर्चुअल बुके और गीता नहीं मिला इनको, मुझे मिल गया।
मिल गया क्या?
इनको नहीं मिला सर, डॉक्टर साहब को नहीं मिला।
ओके,
इनको तो दिखाइए सर प्लीज
सर। प्राची जी।
यस सर।
हाँ, नीतीश जी को और राजीव जी को बुके प्रोवाइड कराया जाए, और साथ में भगवत गीता भी होनी चाहिए।
मेरा वाला नहीं देना है इनको, दूसरा देना है।
भगवत गीता भी होनी चाहिए साथ में।
ओके सर। So I would like to invite, so firstly I would like to invite Mr. Praveen Jain to welcome or thank you our first speaker, Mr. Rajiv Kumar Singh, with a bouquet and a Bhagavad Gita.
Okay. Sir Rajiv ji, please accept our bouquet and Bhagavad Gita as a token of love and affection from moderator and organizer also. Please accept. Thank you, sir.
और परवीन जी, we will send you our address. You please courier these two things to us.
Okay, no problem, sir. And next one, Rachi.
Second one, I would like to invite our Mr. CA Ashish Jain for to welcome our second speaker, Mr. Nitish Kumar Chugh, with a virtual bouquet and a Bhagavad Gita.
Ashish ji, please. आशीष जैन जी प्लीज। तो अभी है नहीं, शायद मैं ही कर देता हूँ सर।
Yes, sir.
प्लीज
Please.
नीतीश जी, आपके लिए बुके और भगवत गीता
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
प्लीज एक्सेप्ट देम
Thank
एंड
you, sir.
रीड आउट भगवत गीता थ्रोली।
जरूर sir.
Okay, sir. Thank you. And with this, I thank all of you for a better and comprehensive practical theory approach given to our participants, and all also thanks Sri Gupta ji, Rajiv ji, Nitish ji, and moderator also, young moderators, both Prachi Jain and Aishwarya Vish, and all participants who are giving their valuable times. So thanks a lot. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you all.
Thank you all.
So now.
बढ़िया हो गया प्रवीण जी, सेशन तो अच्छा हो गया।
सर आपका आशीर्वाद है, सब ठीक ठाक ही होगा।
अच्छा तो बढ़िया।
हाँ जी। आपके साथ पीछे पीछे चलना है, आगे नहीं चलना है।
नहीं बहुत अच्छा है।
हम तो अभी नए नए इस फील्ड में, आपके काफी टाइम से हो, तो आपके पीछे पीछे चलना है हमें।
नहीं आप आगे जाओगे,
आपको हमें
अच्छा
साथ में
है।
लेके चलना है। हम तो सिर्फ एक प्लेटफॉर्म एस्टेब्लिश करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं।
बहुत अच्छा है सर, बहुत अच्छा है। हाँ डेफिनेटली।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
हाँ जी, थैंक यू जी, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू।
ओके सर।
पीयूष जैन, प्राची जैन। सब कौन से खाओगे?